Mindmeeting's Eric de Grout at this year's ICCA Congress is presenting a session called Walking in Other People's Shoes. Let's find out what it's all about. Eric de Grout, you're from Mindmeeting. I was scanning through the ICCA Congress in Shanghai program this year, and I think the title of one of your sessions was probably one of the most intriguing. And in fact, no, you tell us what the title of it is first of all.
Well, the title is Walking in Other People's Shoes.
See what I mean? It's pretty leading. So first of all, tell us what it's all about.
Well, I'll ask you a question. Do you know Dolores Chu?
No,
you
don't. I don't actually. You caught me out there, Eric.
Yeah. Well, Dolores is someone who works for the San Diego Convention Center. Okay. She's about 28 years old, and she's done that all her professional life. And she wants to go elsewhere. But she doesn't do that because her job doesn't allow going away. She needs the money, she's attached to it. So, but somewhere in the back of her head, she thinks that going abroad, going elsewhere, will teach her how other people think. And that is the question, and that is the theme of the session as well.
Yeah, obviously, it makes perfect sense when you think of it in those terms. But from a meetings perspective, do you think actually? Because I know I've read the brief, and it's about. If you're a supplier, maybe look at the client, and vice versa. If if you're a venue, look at the organizer, and if you're an organizer, look at every single person who's involved in your chain. Are we saying that if you do that, you'll get a better meeting?
Yeah, you get. In the end, you're going to become a better designer, a better thinker about meetings, and that is exactly what Dolores wants to do and wants to know. And this special skill is not easy. To really understand what other people's thoughts are, their perspective on the world, their interests, that is crucial in our profession, because our job is bringing people together. So we have to understand that other people have different perspectives. And by the way, Dolores doesn't exist, but we're going to ask the audience for advice.
You're lying to me again. I've told you about that.
Okay, and it's work. Well, it's a format that we're going to use. I mean, I'm a meeting designer, so I won't come up with a normal classroom format. We do special things, and by asking the audience to think along her lines, even though she doesn't exist, that's going to be nice and helpful.
Well, I suppose first and foremost what it really gets people to do is drill down to those objectives which are so important when you're arranging a meeting, because you won't know the objectives until you get under the skin of the people that you're organising the meeting for, surely.
Yeah. And what we see a lot is that people stuck to one side in the industry, whether they'll stick to the supplier side or the buyer or the meeting owner or the planner or whatever. People stay quite often at the same side of the line, and that causes problems in the end. Then you think, well, the world is like I'm thinking, and that is not true. And then in the globalizing world, it's even more complex. I mean,
and you said it's not an easy thing to do, and obviously those people who attend your session, you're going to introduce them to how to actually approach this. Now, we've not got an hour, but in a few seconds, can you give us some pointers as to where people can start?
Well, the fun's going to be that we found 3 people that in their professional life have made many steps from one side to another, and they're going to tell us, and they're going to help the audience to think about how to do this. And I personally, I can tell a lot of things about this. I won't do that because I'm facilitating and I want the 3 people to flourish, and they're going to do that.
Well, so there you have it. I mean, if you can get to the meeting, get to it. I'm sure it's going to be a fascinating session, but ultimately, it's a great philosophy. Eric, thank you very much for talking to me.
Okay, you're welcome.